What's up, everybody? Welcome to In Love with Horror. My name is AJ.
I'm Christy.
And y'all, welcome to our spoiler-free review of Werewolves. So Werewolves is a film that was directed by Stephen C. Miller. I'm not familiar with any of his other work. Marauders. It's got, honestly, a lot of stuff, but it wasn't really anything that I was familiar with. Written by Matthew Kennedy, which it didn't seem like he had done a lot of stuff either. I think Inheritance was one you said you had heard of but hadn't seen. I wasn't familiar with their work either. Of course, the main star is Frank Grillo. Mostly known, I guess, from The Purge and other works like that. But I feel like he was the main draw for this, right?
For sure.
Besides the werewolves. But another big draw for this was all the practical effects, the practical werewolves effects. So basically the premise of this film, it follows Frank Grillo, who starts off, he's watching over his brother's wife and his Frank Grillo's niece, and the brother passed away or something like that. So now he's kind of acting like as a guardian, And the weird thing with this film is it's taking place on the second year that a supermoon is occurring. So apparently there was a supermoon incident, which was the year one. And then, shit went down. People turned into werewolves, killing a bunch of people. So now this is the second time the supermoon is coming. So now everyone's prepping and getting ready for this next supermoon where werewolves are going to start, breaking out and causing the mayhem. So Frank Grillo's making sure that his sister-in-law, niece is good to go while he goes off. He's like a bioengineer person in this movie. He's going to go off and try to help find a cure for this. Of course, shit gets crazy, and he has to make his way back to try to save the family. That's kind of the premise of this movie. I guess off the top, how'd you feel about Werewolves?
Well, I just want to say I personally like werewolf movies. I have a lot of favorites, but it's very hard to find a good werewolf movie because it's difficult to actually, pull it off good or well without CGI or whatnot.
Right.
It doesn't always come across looking the best from experience of other films I watched. Only a handful of films have done it well. Obviously, American Werewolf in London is a popular, well-known one that does the transformation is what gets me. I like to see the transformation.
Oh yeah.
So that was a good one. Now we recently watched one that we didn't really like, A Company of Wolves, but the transformation was really good. I don't think maybe you didn't.
No,
watch
you
that
watched
one.
that.
I think I watched that one.
Yeah,
that
you
was
watched
more
that.
fantasy, kind of like Never-Ending Story. It looks like that, but the transformation of the werewolf.
And you're talking
really
about that's an older film, right?
It's an older film. I think it's from 84 or something like that.
Yep.
Dog Soldiers. I like that movie. You haven't seen that one either.
Well, yeah, I tried watching. I couldn't get into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this one is very well done. Obviously the transformation is still, not the best, but I think it's the best I've seen recently. I think it pulls it off. They pull it off really well. Thinking about this is a small independent film, I think they did a good job with that.
Yeah, that's how I look at it. I feel with the lower budget that they had, I feel they were able to pull off some decent transformations in the movie.
They did. Yeah. And then obviously seeing the actual practical werewolves roaming around the city was just really good. We came for the werewolves, and I think they delivered on that aspect.
Yes.
Outside of that, though, it was not the best as far as the dialogue. There was a lot of one-liners.
Yeah, it's
it was
the cheesy sci-fi action movie.
It was very
type
much
of dialogue.
like something you would find on Sci-Fi Channel.
Right.
It's just got werewolves in this one. But I feel you have to kind of turn your brain off with this one. It's not
you do.
You just got to take it for what it is.
Right.
It's not too deep. It's not about the story because the story is really flimsy.
Yeah.
Even the science behind all of the explanations that they were given to me didn't really make a whole lot of sense. Some of the lore, the way the things worked were kind of wonky. So you can't really pay attention to those details. It's just they're there. It's we have to do this to make a movie, but we came to see the werewolves, and I think that was satisfying.
Yeah, I agree with that too. I think that they understood that for this movie to succeed, like the werewolves have to hit really hard.
Yeah.
And I think they did. Like they looked really good. I love the practical. And there was like it looked like they had a number of werewolf suits.
They did.
Because there was a lot of visually seeing werewolves practically in the film.
I loved it.
Yeah, that
There
was
some
super dope.
really good scenes with like the multiples of the werewolves. And you know, they were sometimes kind of funny, like werewolves themselves, like their clothing or the semi personalities that they had as well.
Their personality was showing even after they became a werewolf, particularly like just visually.
Well, yes.
So like you might have seen a werewolf that obviously was a biker,
right,
as a human because he still got the biker vest on, pierced ear, crazy mohawk hair,
right.
You know what I'm saying? So that was cool,
kind of fun,
right? Yeah, and I think that's the key with this film. If you go in knowing what to expect, so go ahead and expect like that cheesy sci-fi channel action movie type of film.
That's not a bad thing. We're not saying it as like
I'm not saying
it's just
I say that because there's people who like those styles.
Yeah.
Like think about like the Sharknadoes and stuff like that. People like those styles of film. And I feel like this is a film that fits in with those types of movies where you don't really take them super seriously. And I think that's
the best way to approach it.
And people like those. Personally, I'm not a fan of those styles of movies. So I think it was hard for me to really get into this movie because I'm not like a big fan of that. I'm gonna call it like the B action movie style of movie. It's just not for me. From like the music choices, right? Like there was times in this movie where like it was just that typical. I'm gonna call it the B action movie like soundtrack.
Yeah,
like was present. I was like, I don't. It wasn't always there, but there'd be moments where like the emotional scenes happen, and it's almost like it's the stock soundtrack you hear with a lot of these films, and I just kind of like maybe just the budget didn't work there to go and get like a composer to do the whole movie or something like that. Because there were moments where I did hear some good soundtrack elements. I was like, oh, okay, that moment actually sounds pretty good. But then there's moments where I was like, okay, this sounds like the stock movie soundtrack stuff.
Yeah.
So like. I say all that to say like there's times where I just like I couldn't fully get into it, and just because I don't like that style, so I just don't think the movie was personally for me because it's not like it's not supposed to be super serious,
and I think I'm where you are on that. Like I want a serious werewolf movie,
right.
And this is not that, but it definitely has its market.
It's not us. Yeah. Because there's other elements to this that I was disappointed by. One, some of the writing, like I don't know, just didn't work all the time. And from the dialogue to like just I guess like logic choices, like certain things didn't seem consistent with like how much intelligence do the werewolves retain.
True.
Like just some of the stuff just wasn't lining up. And I get, like you said, like, oh, just turn your brain off and watch it. But I'm kind of like, yeah, but I still want like some semblance of stuff that makes sense.
Because of that. Because your whole trying to like, well, wait a minute, that doesn't really fit there when this happened prior. Yeah. So why doesn't make sense? Right. So I feel like you have to.
You just got to turn your brain off.
You have to in this case. Frank Grillo, he's himself, there's moments where he's kind of like being, like a fireman's calendar, you know what I'm saying? Like,
that's a good way to put it. I like that. Yeah.
It's so funny. Like there's a lot of parts where you're like laughing, like that's just preposterous, you know what I'm saying? Like it's over the top ridiculous. And I think the girl who was with him was Katrina Law.
I feel like it was fine.
It was fine.
Yeah. I don't think it was nothing like nothing super. It was like serviceable. It was fine.
It was fine.
Like there's something like wrong with it, but at the same time, it wasn't like it's not. You're going into it like this is what I'm expecting. I'm not expecting like an Oscar performance here. It's just something that moves the story along. And I think that also, again, that goes back to the writing though. I just like certain things just didn't make sense. Like, and it's hard for me as a person who watches movies and like I can't help but like analyze the situation, be like, why are you doing that? It's so dumb, you know?
Yeah.
Like, so like it's hard for me to turn my brain off. So like if you're wasting ammo, I'm like, why are you wasting ammo? You know, stuff like that. You know what I'm saying?
I got you. I got you.
But going back to what we said earlier, the werewolves were super dope. I thought that part was awesome. But I will say I was disappointed by the fact that there's not a lot of gore in this movie. I was expecting there to be a shit ton of gore, and there's really not.
Yeah, it's not as much as I was expecting there to be.
Yeah.
I thought I was gonna. I think that's another thing too. I was looking for like the savagery, like just ripping people out the frame
Like
type
people
thing.
getting fucked up.
Yeah, there were a few good ones. Like when they were done, they were good, and that could be
good.
like a budget thing.
It could be a budget thing.
Yeah, because when we got them, they were really good ones, I think. But yeah, it wasn't
because it was like it was a lot of just like
it.
you know thrown against the wall or like off-screen deaths.
Yeah,
Like or then you see like just blood, like those types of things, and then there was like a small handful of moments where you actually see like somebody getting ripped up or you know something getting ripped off or whatever the case may be. But it was very few, and I was like, wow, I'm kind of shocked.
Yeah,
that there's not
that
more
may be what the case is.
Gore elements in this werewolf movie where you feel like there should be, especially with the vibe that it has.
Yeah, I'm just gonna assume that that's probably why, like, budget wise. But yeah, I did want more.
Yeah, I agree. I wanted way more than what was given in this film.
But that was good. I thought there was like one particular one that was just like that was good.
Oh yeah, there was one that was really good. Yeah, and it's a shorter film. I'm looking at runtime, an hour and 34 minutes, so it's pretty like tight package. You're not spending. It's not overstaying the welcome. Frank Grillo is doing his Frank Grillo thing.
He is.
It very much feels like The Purge
with some werewolves.
Like literally like the same.
Yes.
Like premise of like, okay, I'm over here.
Yeah,
I gotta get over. I gotta get across town over here.
Yeah,
but there's shit going on in between. Replace the humans from The Purge with werewolves.
Exactly.
And then, like that's what's happening.
That's exactly what's happening.
It's not necessarily a bad thing, but
I mean, no.
Definitely, I kind of like the Purge film that we said better than.
Yeah, well, this is definitely very like
this here
simplistic in nature as far as like story goes.
Yeah.
But then they try to make it like more intelligent, I guess, by adding all this science and stuff to it, but that doesn't actually work for it, you know?
Yeah, not necessarily. I did like it. It made me laugh a couple times.
Yeah.
With like what they were using as like the attempt for a cure and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I thought it was cool. That was the moment where like, you know, oh, this is the unserious moments.
Yeah.
And that you could laugh at.
Yeah.
And those are the moments where I was like, okay, that's funny. I like those aspects. But then the other moments where I was kind of like, man, like this just isn't working for me.
Yeah.
Even in the it's so cheesy, it's good kind of way. It's just not working.
Yeah.
Another thing that we kept commenting on, and this is a comment to like, you know, the director and cinematographer, was the amount of lens flares in this movie. God damn. You know, J.J. Abrams is like known for like lens flares. I was
thinking about that on Star Trek the whole time.
Y'all, imagine J.J. Abrams on steroids. Like the amount of lens flares is crazy. Like y'all, y'all should have dialed that back a little bit.
That
like,
beginning sequence of Star Trek.
Hurting
Isn't
my
it Star
eyes.
Trek?
Yeah, he did Star Trek.
When it's just like glaring across, like that was like the whole time.
It happens a lot in this film, and there's a lot of like shaky cam moments and like flickerings, which I'm gonna call the budget horror film tricks. I understand sometimes you got to do that.
Didn't mind that bad. The scene that you're referring to, like it wasn't that bad.
I feel like it was. I feel like the light flickering usage was a lot in that first half of the film. It was happening a lot. It's just me. It could have just been me.
All right, we nitpicking now.
Well, I guess maybe it is a nitpick, but I'm just trying to put it all out there. Look, ultimately, like. If you like these styles of movies, like the monster movies, the Sharknadoes, like the Sci-Fi Channel,
I don't think it's like. Well, I don't know.
It's not that goofy.
Yeah,
it's not that goofy, but it's definitely in that. It's in that wheelhouse.
Yeah,
it's in the wheelhouse of you have to turn your brain off.
You do. I think so.
To like just popcorn enjoy this film.
Yeah.
Because if you try to take it serious, it's not going to work
like
for
a
you.
popcorn movie. Like, but as someone who really likes werewolf movies, like I would probably like turn this on and just go to like
It's a good background movie too.
To the werewolf stuff.
Yeah, I would say to that point, I think it's a good background movie. I think it's a movie you throw on, and like when the werewolf stuff is happening, you're gonna tune in,
pay attention,
and then like when it's not happening, you might be cleaning up or something like that, or doing something else. Maybe you're working or studying or working on school or working on a project, working on some side hustle stuff, whatever. You know what I'm saying? But I think this might be that kind of movie where you can put it on and just wait for the dope werewolf moments to happen, which it does deliver on. I will agree with that.
Yeah.
But is there anything else you wanted to add? So I feel like we covered everything. I think I said everything I wanted to say on this. But it's about what I expected, I guess.
Yeah, I'm good.
Good. Mm-hmm. You want to do like a rating or anything?
I rated it 2.5 out of 5.
Okay. I think that's good because the werewolf practical effects were so
They're so good.
They're so cool to see.
I just want to note, like, you can see like the snarling of the werewolf's mouth and stuff, and his nose like sniffing in the air.
That was
like
cool.
That's super cool details. I loved all that.
Yeah, and to see the personality of the werewolf behind the wolfness, I thought was of the human being. I thought was really cool too. So I'm cool with the 2.5. I can vibe with that. But y'all, let us know down in the comments if you've seen Werewolves. What did you think about this? Did this film work for you? Were you able to, take the right approach? And does it fit in the wheelhouse of films that you like? Let us know all your thoughts down in the comments below. And let us know of other films that might be like this. Maybe there's stuff that we can ease us into these types of films to maybe appreciate it more. I don't know. But y'all let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And hey, look, it's perfect time to subscribe as well because we got more content coming. We got a Blink Twice reaction we're going to be posting pretty soon. We got the top 10 horror movies 2024, our top 10 that's coming in the next couple weeks as well. Then, of course, we got to do our top 10 most anticipated of 2025 because there's a lot of horror films coming out next year. So we'll be talking about that as well. Perfect time to subscribe. So we got a lot of end of the year content coming as we lead into 2025. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button, y'all. And as always, we appreciate y'all support. Thank you for tuning into the video. We're going to see you on the next one. We out, y'all. Peace.